All right, so heading over to the NBA. Last night we had an absolute thriller, baby. The Brooklyn Nets the Brooklyn Nets versus the Milwaukee Bucks. The Bucks took home the victory, 120 to 119 in overtime. Giannis he dropped 44 points. He had 14 rebounds, 6 assists. Oh yeah, and if you want to know those free throw stats, oh yeah, he went 15 from 19, which was pretty incredible. I think at one point of the game he was 10 for 10. 1 for 4 from the 3-point line. Chris Middleton, his running mate. Yeah, you probably heard. It was a nice little phantom call there that got him taken on out of there, got him ejected. So, and when you look at his stats, just know he had a short night. And then for the Brooklyn Nets, led by who other? Kevin Durant. He had 26 points, 3 from 6 from the 3-point line, 3 for 3 from the free throw line, 7 rebounds and 11 assists. Now he did, get a good whopping hand from his supporting cast. Kyrie Irving, 25 points. He 4 for 9 from the 3-point line, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Oh, he also had 2 steals. And then our lovable attachment for the Brooklyn Nets. Oh, Bruce Brown, man. Bruce Brown. Hey, you got to show this guy some respect. He came out of nowhere, and he's been delightful. 23 points, 3 from 5 from the 3-point line, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, gave them 5 rebounds and 3 assists and 3 blocks. So, Jay, with that said, this game had that grittiness, that feel from the second round of the playoffs last year, and that was a thrilling, we was a couple of inches away from who knows what. A thrilling series last year in the second round of the playoffs. I equated this game to an earlier game in the season when Phoenix, when they was full strength, when they played Golden State. Golden State probably was still minus Klay Thompson and Wiseman at the time, but they had everybody else. That game was pretty good. It had a playoff atmosphere. But I got a feeling you like this game a little better. You tell us something.
Yeah, I haven't watched a ton of NBA action this season. We've covered it somewhat sporadically, but out of the games I have watched, this was no question the best game I've seen. If you got games out there that you think were better than this, please let me know, because I needed to go in the archives and see them, because you don't. Yeah, there aren't. This did not feel like a regular season game. The way both teams were playing and getting after it, particularly on the defensive end, I thought both teams were giving great energy and effort on the defensive side. And then you saw several occasions where, the effort and guys from both sides diving on the floor for loose balls. It was uncommon effort it really felt like this game meant something more than just another, Thursday night NBA on TNT game.
Right.
And I was highly entertained and mesmerized. Of course, it helps when you have, 2 of the, I'd say, top 3 players in the game, and Giannis and Kevin Durant, and then, the supporting cast. And this was relatively, the teams were, full strength. That's been my complaint, especially this year. Every time we plan to watch a game, you turn it on and there's a top 10, top 15 dude at the game. Well, this is just, and then half the time it'll be multiple guys that are sitting out.
Right.
Fortunately, the one significant no-show is something we've come to expect, and that would be one Ben Simmons, and who cares at this point? We'll see you when we see you. But I do think, but it felt like it meant something. It felt like it meant something to both teams. I think I understand completely if you're in the position of the Brooklyn Nets and you're in the AC right now, you're fighting for position. You don't want to, they're probably going to be 7 or 8, but you don't want to fall down to 9 and 10 because they're tied with Charlotte and Atlanta right now. So every game's crucial. Right. And you don't want to be in a situation where you have to win 2 win or go home games to even get into the playoffs. Right. And I do have, another, upfront thing is, I love Reggie Miller and Kevin Hart on the broadcast. I think they're a solid combination of broadcasters. And but I got to disagree with what Reggie Miller was saying about, man, this is what I want to see in the first round of the playoffs. I'm like, no, stop. This is not what I don't want to see this in the first round. These two teams are too good to have one of these teams go home in the first round. So I really hope that
Let's go,
this is
Brookie.
not a. I really hope this ain't a 1-8. I hope this ain't a 2-7 because these teams had a great battle in the Eastern Conference semis last year. We don't need to downgrade this to the first round. This needs to be at minimum the semifinals. And this is what we saw last night. That's a snapshot of an epic Eastern Conference Finals.
Right.
I really believe that. Now to the game itself, there was a point in this game where I was like, oh my Lord, now the refs had to come in here and interject because this was by the end of the night after overtime and all that. But you look at when Chris Middleton got thrown out of the game because they called that Bruce Brown, he has a breakaway. He looked back, he see Chris Middleton, he goes up. Middleton, I believe, without a shadow, no doubt in my mind, he goes for the ball. He missed. He ends up getting him on the arm. It's a hard foul. They called a common foul on the floor. They ain't called nothing outrageous. And then they go to replay, and they hit him with a flagrant 2. If you watch Middleton right after that play, he's going over to Bruce Brown immediately to see if he's good. Middleton does not have a reputation at all of being that type of dude. I don't think he's got a dirty bone in his body. I don't think Grayson Allen has transmitted anything into him to that degree. I don't think that's what we're dealing with. And then also, if you can read lips even a little bit, he says, I was right after they zoomed in. He said, I was going for the ball. So I was really disappointed with the replay crew or whoever made that decision to throw Chris Middleton out of the game. If that had been a playoff game and they did that and it cost Milwaukee a game, it would have been an absolute travesty. I understand if the NBA, because it's just the day and age of how we play. Everybody wants to cry about everything. The league is soft. We know it is. I wouldn't have been surprised, and I wouldn't have been necessarily, offended if they'd have called it a flagrant 1. And I think Reggie Miller said much the same thing. Reggie Miller thought it was a good hard foul. That's a playoff foul.
Right.
You take 2 shots and you go. Because the alternative is, I'll just let the guy score. No, we're not doing that.
Right.
But to throw him out the game, I thought it was excessive, and I thought it was a disservice to that game. But I got to say, Brooklyn from there, they end up having a 9-point lead late. I think it was 108-99. And then I think Giannis misses 2 free throws. But then Wes Matthews gets a putback off the free throw miss, and it kind of unraveled for Brooklyn from there. And then, Giannis, this guy's doing everything, including his 1 3-point bucket was a step back 3 to tie the game with 18 seconds left. And then to close regulation, you have KD doing what he does. Wes Matthews, they have Wes on him trying to guard him. But then you see the double late, and it's Giannis that ends up contesting. And KD misses. This guy, to me, Giannis, he's the best thing smoking right now. I'm seeing a lot of headlines to say what he's been doing lately. It's put him back in the MVP conversation. They just beat Philadelphia where he had, I think, 40-14, 44-14 last night. He's playing just out of his mind right now. And it's just his motor, his intensity, and his willingness. And you see, this is where all that, what you do in the off season matters.
Right.
Because he continues to find ways to get better and better and better. And you're seeing it 10 for 10, starting off on the free throw line. He did look a little bit, flimsy late. I think he missed 3 out of his next 7, but he ends up hitting 2 free throws to win the game. I think KD again to end overtime missed again, if I'm not mistaken. But the other part of it is Milwaukee's defense late and in overtime, they picked up the intensity. There's no question to even another level that I didn't even think we could see. And they made KD and Kyrie, they didn't play. They weren't awful, but I really think they were bothered. They were bothered by Milwaukee's physicality, and that was really my main takeaway of this game. Milwaukee is a physically superior team to Brooklyn. When you look at Giannis and you look at Drew Holiday and you look at them go to the rim, they are absolute bullies. And KD, God bless him for trying to stand in there and like do everything he can against Giannis. But it is not a fair fight when that guy's coming downhill and KD's he's just not, he doesn't have the girth. He absolutely doesn't. So the only hope for Brooklyn in that regard to slow him down, to slow KD down, is Ben Simmons. And, if it's a first round matchup and that's the first thing Ben Simmons sees, he might need another mental health break after that. I'm sorry, but that might be where we are. I truly believe that Milwaukee's physicality really, really bothered Brooklyn. And I think when you also look at the two guys I'm looking at for kind of, look, Giannis going to be Giannis. That's what it is. Middleton and Holiday, you said it, especially Middleton, and he doesn't get a pass for getting thrown out the game because he was lackluster. 16 points, 4 for 12, not very good. I mean, this Middleton's, he comes and goes. He's got a little bit of a streakiness to him.
Right.
Holiday was not very good either, shooting the basketball, but man, he was playing the passing lanes effectively to the tune of 6 steals. And, he's almost Giannis light, because he just, I don't know if there's a guard out there, a legitimate guard, who can stop him from getting to the basket, because backing him down off the dribble, he's just too strong. And that was a huge factor. But the thing about it, that if you're Brooklyn, even though you have Ben Simmons in reserves, Brooklyn was plus 18 from the 3-point line, and they had 6 fewer turnovers. That's the one thing. Milwaukee was careless with the ball, 17 assists, 22 turnovers. Brooklyn 31 and 16. So both teams have some things that they can really feel good about, and both teams obviously some things they need to work on. But to me, the biggest part of the game is that Milwaukee's just their physicality really, really bothered them. And in a 7-game series, if we are to see another rematch of the Eastern Conference semis, that physicality, I think it could wear on these guys over the course of a long series. And it's Brooklyn should be pretty concerned, because that's a game it looked like they needed.
They definitely need it. But I mean, listen, when we talk about Brooklyn at this point, Brooklyn need all these games. When you out here flopping around and you tied with Atlanta, and Atlanta ain't been nothing to look at this year. And what was the other team? Was it the Hornets?
Charlotte, yep.
Like, you got KD and Kyrie, what do they have? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's keep it. Trae Young, cool, got it, doing his thing, but those two teams ain't been that exciting this year. So Brooklyn needs every win they can get. But to what you said, I think after listening to some of the points you made, I think another thing I forgot to highlight when we talking about the role players for the Milwaukee Bucks. Listen, we didn't get our guy. Bobby Portis wasn't too hot last night. Brook Lopez wasn't too hot last night. So when you compound that with Chris Middleton's performance, Drew Holiday performance, I would say Drew Holiday performance from an offensive standpoint. He seemed like he was a beast on the defense. Pat Connaughton came in, he gave you some pretty, decent minutes or whatnot. But for the most part, by and large, you're looking at Giannis carrying the load pretty much. And the problem is with that is, let's not make this a thing when you get into the postseason. Because when teams, once again, you get in those 7-game series, this team should know this by now. They're champions, so they know how that 7-game series can, tighten up. So hopefully, Giannis get more support from his counterparts in the future. Now, to the Nets, what I liked about the Nets last night, even though they lost, was they looked a little more evenly spread out. And I think, to your point, right, if they was a tad bit tougher, if they had I don't know, PJ Tucker, maybe Serge Ibaka, just somebody that can muck it up a little bit. Man, you can even have a Dwight Howard. I don't know, just somebody that can like make Giannis think about, okay, if he go up for this board, it might be a little tougher. If he make this move, it might, because like you said, I love Durant. Matter of fact, I love what Andre Drummond gave the Nets to this point. The problem is, I know snowmans that can move around Andre Drummond right now. So when you stuck in the mud like that, it's like that's not going to work against Giannis. I mean, does he have the size to bother him? Yes, but he lacks everything else, I guess. Like Giannis is he's just gonna go around him, order his meal, and then dunk on him. That's what he's gonna do. And then when you put in Nick Claxton can move, but come on, man, he need to be on double racks. You know what I'm saying? Like he just too small. Like he out here looking like my iPad Pro, nice and skinny. You know, that's not gonna get it done against Giannis either. So I don't know what they do. They figure out some type of combination, but I do agree with you. They got to get tougher. But here's the deal, Jay. If I'm Brooklyn, I'm looking at this and I'm saying, if we go in the play-in tournament and we do have to win 2 games, who's gonna stop us from winning 2 games? That's in the play-in tournament. Now the problem is if they're 7 or 8, and then like you said, they have to play, either Philly or Milwaukee. We don't want to see that in the first round. I'm fully in agreement with that. But the only way we don't see that in the first round is Brooklyn might need to go undefeated or something from here on out. We only got 2 weeks left. 2 weeks, and then regular season is done. Brooklyn is going to need to make a move soon. Or we will see one of those games. They will either be playing Miami, Milwaukee, or Philadelphia in the first round. That's just what it is. I don't think we're going to lose any sleep with Miami and Brooklyn first round. But, like, I'm with you. I don't want to see Milwaukee and Brooklyn in the first round. Like, that's premier entertainment that you're putting on as a prelim. But another thing I want to give credit to both of these guys. You mentioned it. These are 2 of the top 3 players in the league. Usually we got LeBron in number 3. The thing about these 2 teams is they're fighting for playoff spots where LeBron and the Lakers are kind of just like, Hey, we off? All right, cool. Yeah, I'm calling in. I'm sick. Well, you off anyway. That's kind of their attitude. Like, yeah, whatever. And so you kind of discount LeBron, LeBron leading the league in scoring. It's just like we're not saying LeBron shouldn't be in this conversation, but he shouldn't be in this conversation because we're talking playoffs. We're talking playoffs. These 2 guys, right? The thing about both of them is when I look at them, for some reason, I hear leadership. KD used to get a bad rap by his lack of leadership. And he probably wasn't that much of a leader. But I think he learned throughout his time in the NBA that leadership is important. Setting an example is important. Yeah, I can be good, but how do I make my other players good? And that might be something he learned from the likes of LeBron and other good players where he's like, okay, he know how to make other players good. So he can get Timothy Mozgov a max contract. Ain't done anything since that contract. But that's what LeBron do. He can make ordinary players look so good that they're getting paid money they shouldn't be getting. So I think Durant, at some time, he took that in, and he know once he left Golden State, because he was never going to get the credit that he wanted from Golden State. OKC was his team. Left OKC, went to Golden State. Golden State is Steph team. It is what it is. He was the better player, but it was Steph team. Now you leave Golden State, built-in championships, you left good foundation, good management, all that. Now you go to Brooklyn, and then you team up with one of the most inconsistent guys to wear an NBA jersey in Kyrie Irving. And we seen what happened in the beginning, but now with the COVID saga being over, now Kyrie allowed to play home games. He should be more available. My hat's got to go off to Kevin Durant once he got back from his injury. He kept this ship afloat because, listen, Brooklyn could very well be out here looking like the Lakers right now. They could very well be, and they would have every excuse. If we saying it's all right that LeBron don't got AD and they're not looking hot and it's not LeBron's fault, you know, if AD was healthy, the Lakers would be better, then what in the hell do we supposed to say to Kevin Durant? Because he didn't dealt with a straight S show over there. It's been a straight clown show. The man got to deal with Kyrie being a part-time employee. Then he got to deal with James Harden. He don't even want to be on the team. He asked for trades public, right? Then he got to deal with the fact that the organization make a trade, and the best piece of that trade comes to their team, and he can't play because he's having issues, whether that's mental, whether that's physical with his back, et cetera, et cetera. And through all of that, Durant is out here averaging like 45 minutes a game, pretty much, trying to will his team back in a prominent position. I think since he's been back from injury, he's been the most consistent part of their revival, I called it, even though they still towards the bottom. But that's what happens when you dig yourself a hole. You got to eventually dig your way back up. But I think he's been a consistent piece, like the glue, with Kyrie going back and forth. Bruce Brown been out here looking like, man, I just can't say enough good words about Bruce Brown. I think he really came and made the most of his opportunity. You got Seth Curry coming over here. Now he's playing with a player with the level of Durant, and then a level of Kyrie. So he gets he's doing what he gets to do, throwing those threes up. He's doing his thing. And then, like I said, Nick's Claxton, Andre Drummond, et cetera, et cetera. I just had to say, shouts out to Kevin Durant and his leadership. And I think he don't get enough credit for keeping this team on track to at least make the playoffs, or at least make the play-in tournament. And I think that's underrated because a lot of people talked about his leadership early in his career. And I think it's coming full circle right now. With that said, and then Giannis. I wanted to talk about Giannis for a sec. If Ben Simmons was on the bench for this game, he need to look at Giannis and say, yo, I need his contact information. Because I'm not even trying to like dig at Ben like that. I'm being for real though. Because if he's struggling to figure out how to better his game from a free throw perspective or mid-range perspective or three-point perspective, he needs to talk to Giannis. Because the thing is Giannis got beat up last offseason for all three of those things. Giannis also is not built to have a superior dominant game from any three of those levels. Ben Simmons is. Giannis supposed to kind of struggle from the free throw line. We know dudes that's 7 foot is in the history books. They struggle from the free throw line. Okay, Giannis went to the lab and fixed on that. We know Giannis ain't ever been a superior three-point shooter. And I'm not saying he's one now, but what I will say is you can tell he's been working on it because he'll take one. He just tired.
And he's not afraid. That much we can say for sure. He's not afraid of it.
Exactly. And then we seen what he did with all the chips on the table. What did he do last night? So if I'm Ben Simmons, I got to see that and be like, how in the hell can Giannis do this? We can't even say his last name. He's 7 foot. And here I am, the prototype of at least a probably shooting guard, small forward. And I can't do none of that. Oh, I can play good defense, so can Giannis. But yo, I hope Ben Simmons soaks some of that up when he see a player like Giannis. I know not every player gonna match what he went through in Philly, but let me tell you what Giannis didn't do. He didn't quit. He didn't say, oh my God, I want to be out of here. You guys turned your back on me. He went to the lab, man. He got better every year. And that's the way you do it, man. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to Giannis, man. I think, Giannis might be the best player. Yeah, I said it.
Yep.
Giannis might be the
I
best
agree.
player in the world right now.
Hate to be a prisoner of the moment, but that is what it feels like. I completely agree.
No disrespect to Kevin Durant. Respect everything he do. He an assassin, one of the best offensive players in NBA history. But like you said, when you put everything into it, when you know you're gonna get 10 to 12 rebounds, when you know you're gonna get blocks, assists, like at this point, the only thing you can say he can't do is consistently shoot threes. That's the only thing you can say he cannot consistently do is shoot threes. He just showed you he can make free throws. He showed you he can make mid-range shots. You already know in a restricted circle what time it is. You know what it is in the paint. I ain't even got to say that. And he showed you what he do on the defense side. He can change the game on both ends of the court. Sorry, I don't know if Durant changing the game on both ends of the court, but I know when you're talking offensively, he is that guy. So with that said, man, like, listen, I think, like you said, this is a prelude. I hope this is not a first round matchup, but if it is, I'm here for it. But damn good game last night, very entertaining, and we'll see what the last 2 weeks of the season got for us.